Hello, 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 my magnificent people. How are we today? What do you believe the most powerful force in human psychology is? Would you say it's motivation? Would you say it's hunger? It's kind of the same thing. Or would you say it is identity? If you answered identity, you are correct. They say that the most powerful force in the human nature, human psychology, is the need to stay consistent with how we define ourselves. And that is identity. Because you don't rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of who you believe you are. I could say all day, every day, I am a music artist. I am the next greatest singer. But if I don't practice, and I just say it over and over again, the robotic affirmations, but I'm not taking the actions to become that type of person, and deep down, I don't believe I can actually sing, I'm not going to become that all-star singer. All-star, you know what I mean. I'm not going to become that pop star. So, what does this mean? This means that we need to expand our identity. And first and foremost, I want you to think about, where did your identity come from in the first place? And no, I'm not talking about boy or girl. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about who you believe you are at your core. So I want you to answer this question now. I am the type of person who blank. Answer that for yourself. Maybe type it down below. I am the type of person who blank. And then ask it again. I'm also the type of person that does blank. And you could also write a list of I am this, I am this, I am this. All of those I am statements, those are identity statements. And how we see ourselves determines the actions that we take in this world. Who we believe we are determines the actions that we take, which determines then our results, then reinforces that belief of identity. So if we start with expanding our identity of who we believe we are, who we believe we can be, and live to those standards, you will be amazed at the level, stay focused, the cars, you'll be amazed at how much more you can accomplish in your entire lifespan if you expand this one thing, identity, because it starts at the core. You know, it's interesting. I love posting my little astrology skits. I call it little. It's not. It's very fun and it's very freeing, and I kind of see it as my, what would you call it? My improv. I love improv classes. I haven't taken one in forever, but I like to expand into different sides of myself, identities, if you will. I like to expand and play different roles. And so that's why I like doing the astrology skits, because I get to be Gemini one day. I get to be Scorpio one day, wear the glasses, stare through your soul. And so depends on what you want in life. If you have this audacious goal and you don't believe that you're the type of person that can meet it, but you have this inkling, you know what, I want this thing so badly. Maybe you want to become the next president of the United States. Maybe you want to become, what's the opposite? A chef, a Michelin star chef. But you don't believe that you would ever get accepted into the school. You don't believe that people would take you seriously. You need to first expand who you are at your core. Okay, so let's go to now, where did your identity come from in the first place? Think of it as when you were a kid, way back in elementary school, even before that really, but just imagine you're about 6 or 7 years old and you were given a name tag, first day of school, and it says your name, whatever your name is right there. And then underneath of that name tag, you were given these gold stars. Or maybe they weren't gold stars. Maybe they were little shit emoji stickers. You know what I mean? Just a sticker stating if you were a good boy or a good girl or a good student or a bad student. Okay? So you have your name tag there, and maybe your teacher walked up and said, "You are so good at math. You're an excellent student. You're my favorite." How would that make you feel? That would absolutely reinforce the belief, I'm a good student. I'm great at math. My teacher loves me. People love me. Smart people love me, right? How about the opposite? You go home from school, or say your sibling goes home from school. Let's keep it about you. You go home from school and you have a parent that says, "Oh, you're so fat and so ugly. No one will ever love you." I mean, that's awful. God is with us. I hope that that didn't happen to you. I'm very sorry if it did. But if you had a parent that said that, I actually know somebody who their parents said that to them. And if that parent said it to you often enough, or just one time really intensely, we tend to remember things most when we are feeling intense emotion. A heightened state of emotion causes the brain to remember what was said in that moment, how you felt in that moment, much more likely for it to stick. And that's why intensity when you're learning and being passionate and writing things down, moving your body when you're learning helps it stick the most. So if your parent said that to you, you may think that you are excellent in school and your teacher loves you, you're a great student, you're great at math, but then you might also have the belief that you're fat and ugly. God is with us. And so you can now kind of begin to see how our beliefs, how they're molded. They're molded by, especially from the ages of 0 and 7 years old, it becomes our values, it becomes part of our beliefs. But then we move through our teenage years and it becomes our peers who tell us who we are and say different things. I know for me, growing up, we had skinny contests in 5th grade, 10 years old, in the kids' bathroom. We would hold up our shirts and show our stomachs, to here, and show our stomachs. And who was skinnier today? Was it Megan or was it Kendra? I remember, I kid you not, that's when I started looking at labels. This is probably for a different video, but I started reading food labels when I was 10 years old because I wanted to be as skinny as possible. Different video, though. So, who do you believe you are? I am the type of person that does this. I'm the type of person that follows through. I'm the type of person that is excellent at math. I suck at math. I am brave. I am shy. Fill in the blank. Then question it. Did I choose that belief myself? Do I believe that at the core? Or did I just accept it? Did I just accept it from a mean parent? Did I just accept it from an asshole teacher that didn't like themselves or was jealous somehow deep down? Where did those beliefs come from about the identity of who you are? Then, if you don't like it, I want you to rewrite it. If you don't want to be shy anymore, you don't have to be shy anymore. You can be quiet, by the way. You can be quiet. I remember a couple kids before who didn't know me at all because I'm not shy. I just wasn't saying anything. I was being observant. It was in dance class. And I was thinking that these kids were thinking I was shy, but really I was just new in class and I was just observing the teacher and just observing the class. And I remember going home. This was probably, I was like 12 years old. I remember going home and I told my mom, I'm like, Mom, I don't feel like myself in dance class because I had gotten moved up to the advanced dance class and they weren't very inviting. And I remember going home and saying, Mom, I don't feel like myself in this dance class. And that's before I knew about identity or anything, but instead of thinking, oh, I'm quiet or I'm shy or people don't like me, instead, I renamed that girl in that dance class. I had a nickname for myself there. I didn't tell anyone. I just told myself and my mom and my aunt. And I named myself Charlotte. I'm just remembering this now, like 12 years old. I'm like, that's not me. That's not Megan. Because to me, I'm the star of the show. Like, I'm the centerpiece. I am the main attraction. I am the main event. I've grown up thinking that. And of course, I've had my life happen, you know. But deep down, I can have that belief. It doesn't make me a narcissist. Doesn't make me conceited or full of myself. It makes me confident in my abilities and in who I am, my identity, what I'm capable of achieving, of doing, of being, of having. So I nicknamed that girl Charlotte. And that girl was going to class to dance, going to class to learn. She was observant. I actually hated the word shy, and I refused to ever be considered shy. And I also learned the nuance of one can be quiet. That doesn't mean that they're shy. So that's another beautiful lesson I would love for you to take from this, is that there are nuances to everything. Nuances. I posted on my story, what was it? Oh, about identity. So this is one more, a little off topic, but it's totally about identity still, is if you run into somebody who seems to have a bit of an ego, just know that our ego is what protects our identity. Our ego protects our sense of self. And if you meet somebody who they say that person has a big ego, that just means they have this sense of self, this hardened shell that protects their identity, their sense of self underneath. So if you are fighting with somebody that doubles down when they are wrong, I recommend do what you want. But I've done this myself, where I will continue to state my point with that type of person, and they're just not budging. Instead, they will double down on their belief or their side of the story, whatever it is. And I would say just walk away, back away, because they are not ready for the ego death or to look beyond that shell. They're not ready because they can't see what's on the other side of it. And if you think of it this way, ego protects the identity. And so an example would be, the identity is, I'm really trying to remember this from just my mind instead of looking at any notes, so bear with me, but essentially it is, oh my goodness, it's coming. I feel like cue the music. Okay, almost there. Oh, okay. So say they consider themselves to be an intelligent person. And this identity example is, I am intelligent. And if they're wrong and they're not saying, oh wow, I never saw it that way. They're not noticing the nuance there. They're not noticing that it's a nuance. And they don't realize that just because they made a mistake, that doesn't mean that they aren't intelligent anymore. So that's my point, is say that their identity is, I am intelligent, but they were wrong about something, and they think by admitting that they were wrong, that means that they're not intelligent. The nuance there is, you can be intelligent and also be wrong. But they would believe, if they have a very strong ego and double down, is, if I admit I'm wrong, that means I'm not intelligent. What's underneath of that? What's his fear? Because ego helps protect us from what we fear. So what's underneath of that? Okay, well, if I'm not intelligent, then underneath of that, by the way, is I won't be loved. What's underneath of that? We need to feel love as human beings. And so underneath that fear of, if I'm not intelligent, then I won't be loved, it is, if I am not loved, that equals death. And that may seem extreme, very extreme, but it's not. Because when we were born, our little baby infant people, hello, sir, when we were itty bitty babies, right out of the womb, what did we need? We needed love. We needed to be nurtured. We needed to be cared for. We needed love, actual physical touch to our mother's chest, or else we died. You actually need love. As a baby, at least. And really, I believe as souls and humans, we need love. So if you meet somebody that is so adamant and not letting go and not admitting to being wrong, and just accept it, just walk away from that situation, because they're just not ready to be open to nuance, and they're just not there yet. So let them be right, and you can even make that part of your identity. Is my identity is somebody who allows somebody to come to conclusions on their own timing and on their own terms. So I'll leave it at that. I digress, and I'll leave you with that. How can you expand your identity? Let me know in the comments below. I'm the type of person now that does this. Rewrite it. If you don't like, make a list this evening, make it right now, in fact. And just if there's anything in there that you realize, hey, I didn't choose that for myself, and that's not who I want to be, I want you to scratch it out and rewrite it. Now, this is the type of person I am. Write your name at the top, put yourself a new name tag sticker on there with all your gold stars, all of the pieces of identity that you believe you are. And somebody's walking right at my car, I feel like. Anyway, let me know what your new identity is in the comments below. And have a great one. And thank you for tuning in. There he is. And dare to be magnificent.